everyone to the Global Power Platform Bootcamp 2021, and thanks for being here till the last session. Thanks for surviving to the last session as well, and thanks for attending my presentation. My presentation is about one of the topics that I'm so passionate about it, which is the AI-powered advanced analytics capabilities in Power BI. So before I start, I'd like to give you some background about myself. My name is Ashraf Ghonaim. I've been in the industry, several industries around the data for more than 20 years. I worked in different disciplines like strategy management, performance measurement, process improvement, and data analytics. My background is computer engineering, and I also did my MBA in strategy management. I'm also certified Balance Scorecard practitioner and Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, as well as PMP, Project Management Professional. Along with Vivek, it's been a good journey so far. We co-lead actually the Power Platform user group community here in Toronto. We have been doing this for almost like 6 years now, and the group is growing so fast. So whoever is attending this session and is not a member of our group, please join us, because we are aiming actually to expand the group more and more. And we build like a community of practice. We meet on a monthly basis. We share knowledge, experience, and share our passion about Power Platform in general. And my personal passion is Power BI in particular. So we'd like to have more of you guys, and please, if you have any good use case that you would like to share with the audience, please let us know, and we will be more than happy to include you in the future events. I'm also the leader of the Visual for Social Good. It's a non-for-profit organization that helps the other non-for-profit organization as well to make good use of their data through analytics and visualization. And from time to time, we have like projects to help those non-for-profit organization, and we require or ask for volunteers to join us and help us with those projects. So please Google this as well and join this organization. I'm the leader of the Toronto chapter, and I would be more than happy to work with you guys in the future on any project that is going to help any of the Canadian local non-for-profit organization. I'm also organizer and the speaker of several data and analytics conferences, like this one, for example, the Global Power Platform Bootcamp. Also as a speaker in Ignite, Microsoft Build, co-organizer with Vivek as well in the Power BI World Tour event, and also Azure and AI bootcamps. And because of my community contribution, I was awarded like 3 years ago the Microsoft MVP. So I'm one of the 12 MVPs in data platform here in Canada. So MVPs, they have different platforms and different sections and categories. So my category is data platform, and particularly Power BI. So I'm also a co-author of the first Power BI MVP book. It's written by 21 MVPs from all over the world. I'm so happy and proud to represent Canada in writing this book. And every single MVP wrote a specific chapter in this book. And the chapter I wrote in this book was about automated machine learning and Power BI. So this book is available in Amazon, and I encourage you to check it out, guys, if you need to learn more about Power BI. So you can imagine like 21 different standalone topics completely. Each chapter has nothing to do with the other chapter. So each chapter is like a standalone topic, completely from end to end. So you will learn a lot from this book. And also I'm the co-author of the first Microsoft AI MVP book. Again, it's written by 17 AI MVPs from all over the world. And I'm again so proud to represent Canada in writing this book. And similar to the other book, every single MVP wrote a specific chapter in this book. And the chapter I wrote in this book was about AI and cognitive services in Power BI. So please check out those two books, not to make me a richer person, because actually we don't get any profit out of selling those two books. We actually donated the revenue of those two books, royalty of those two books, to charities. So if you buy the book, you will actually learn something, but at the same time, you will be contributing to charity. So this session, the agenda for the session today will follow those items. So the evolution of analytics, because it's very important for you guys to understand the spectrum of analytics first. Then I'll talk about the self-service AI powered capabilities inside Power BI, and how those self-service capabilities are actually helping address the challenges of each level of the analytics, as I will explain later. And I'll give you specific examples how to leverage that in Power BI. So before we deep dive into those demos, I would like to give you this complete picture about the types of analytics and the evolution of analytics and the complete spectrum of analytics. Gartner came up with this spectrum. And as you see here, we started from the left bottom with descriptive analytics. So descriptive analytics is all about a reflection of what happened in the past when it comes to historical data. So it's answering or helping the organization to answer key fundamental specific question about what happened in the past. What was our revenue last month, for example, and so on. So those key fundamental basic question about basic numbers, we call them descriptive analytics. It's a reflection of what happened in the past. It's hindsight. It is what it is based on what happened in the past. And once you secure that in your organization and build so many fancy reports and charts to help the organization to get those questions, several questions about what happened in the past, and get full description about what happened in the past from a data perspective, you start actually to move and evolve the organization to start asking another question, which is, why did it happen? So we really need to understand why behavior is happening, why the sales dropped last month, for example, compared to the same month last year. So anything that is trying or helping the organization to answer the question why, we call this now diagnostic analytics, because we are moving from describing it is what it is to actually try to answer another question, important question and fundamental question: why did it happen? What was the cause for certain behavior or change in the certain behavior based on the data that we have? So, and this is getting more and more insights about the data. Once you secure that, okay, we know what happened in the past. We know now why did it happen. So knowing those two, how this can inform the future, how this can help us to actually predict the future. And we can get ready for the future based on what happened in the past. And this is what we call it predictive analytics. It's all about what will happen in the future. Okay, so if we answer now the question, what happened in the past, why did it happen, and what will happen in the future? So what should we do then? So if you evolve your questions to get to the point what we need to do, or what we really need to do to influence the direction of our business to get to a certain point, to leverage or seize certain opportunity or avoid certain risk, that's what we call it prescriptive analytics, because it's actually driving action. It's driving decisions in the organization to get to a certain point, to either seize an opportunity or avoid a risk. That's what we call it prescriptive analytics. And it's all about how we can make this happen or avoid it. It could be like, if it is opportunity, so how to leverage it. If it is a risk, how to avoid it. And as we see here, we are evolving from hindsight to insight to foresight. So those are all the key layers of analytics and typical analytics layers in any organization. If you draw a line between the first two layers and second two layers, this is actually the border line between a typical BI, which is about descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics, and anything above that, which is predictive analytics and the prescriptive analytics. This is more of like data science work. So this is where the organization, they really need to have a data scientist to help them build predictive models and use machine learning to actually do some predictive analytics. And after that, they work on optimization models to actually optimize the decision here, because it's not just about responding to the situation, but how to optimize that. What is the best actually course of action that we need to take to maximize our benefit, either by avoiding a risk again or seizing an opportunity. So that's the borderline between a typical traditional classical conventional BI versus data science. The good news is Power BI is evolving now to cover the entire spectrum from end to end and make it much easier and more self-service to actually enable even classical traditional BI experts or professionals to do some of what it used to be done by data scientists, but in a more intuitive and more self-service way. And this is what we call them citizen data scientists. So citizen data scientist is basically a person who can help the organization leverage some of the data science techniques without coming from extensive statistical background or data science background. And I will cover some of those capabilities inside Power BI and how those can enable person or empower the people in the organization to become a citizen data scientist. His mic is not muted, so if you can mute your mic, please, everyone.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you. So the scope for this session, guys, just to help you focus here, we will be focusing on the first two layers, which is basically descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics. Why? Because right now, Power BI has certain capabilities to address those first two layers inside the free edition of the Power BI desktop that every one of you has already. So there is no special license required. There is no premium license that we really need to do, because this is more of like building a predictive analytics or using AI cognitive services or AutoML will require premium license. So this will be more like predictive / prescriptive analytics. So the scope of this session is what we have in the free edition. Everyone has it in the free edition that can enable us to leverage all the AI powered capabilities to do descriptive analytics and diagnostic analytics, which is the purpose of or the scope of this session. So again, this is the core focus of the session now, how Power BI is infusing AI in every step to create the intuitive and valuable insights for business users. So let us start again with the first layer, descriptive analytics. So what are the challenges with the descriptive analytics? So each layer has its own challenges, and I will walk you through now through those features and capabilities and demo to help you understand how Power BI is helping actually the organization to address those challenges. So descriptive analytics, the biggest challenge in the descriptive analytics is end users, they need immediate answers. The business are moving so fast, and business users really need quick and rapid and very fast responses. And not everyone is empowered or enabled with all the technical expertise to get those quick answers quickly based on the data they have. Also, from a technical perspective, it's impossible to anticipate everyone's question, because no matter what and time and effort we put and right from the beginning to build the dashboard and charts and visualization, etc., you will not be able, no matter what you do, to answer everyone's question, even future questions. So this will actually create a more of a bottleneck for people who develop and build those charts and dashboards. And also, there is no standard way for everyone to ask their questions. So different people in the organization, they have different perspectives, they use different terminology, they use different languages, etc., etc. That's exactly adding more burden actually on the process of creating and responding to those questions as fast as possible. So how Power BI is actually enabling business people to get very quick answers without having the technical expertise to do some extensive or technical deep work to get the answer from the data they have. So the first demo I have here is one of the coolest features that we have in Power BI, which is the Q&A in Power BI. To do that, I will share my. Can you see my Power BI desktop screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, excellent. So before we deep dive into those features, quickly go over the dataset I have here. So it's a very simple, straightforward one table. I just have one table in my model. sales table. And in the sales table, I have all the transaction, and I have a field here for the country, the order date, the style of the product number, the product ID, product description. So I have, it's a denormalized data set, so I have all the columns that can be a driver for my business based on just one centralized table. So I don't want to make it like a complicated scenario here where we have a dimensional model in the star schema. So let us keep it simple now. It's one straightforward table, and we have different columns here. So back to the first business challenge, how people they can actually get insights quickly from the data without going through the process of learning Power BI or understanding the basic fundamental concept of the Power BI and how to do the visualization, etc., etc. So what any typical or any simple or average business user can really do using the free edition of Power BI, just like open the Power BI desktop and just double click. Okay. Double click on the white canvas here. And as you see here, we open a window and it's asking them, ask a question about your data. If you expand this a little bit, it's actually giving you some suggestion here for some questions about the data. Top countries by count. What is count by country? What is count by category? What is the count by stock type? And also, if you click here more, you can actually get more suggestions as well. So those are based on the algorithm that went quickly through the data set. Those are the suggested questions to start with. Okay. So if I click on any of those questions, I will get the answer for them. As you see here, I didn't even bother to write down anything, or I didn't even bother to actually find which visual or try to find any visual to pick and choose. That's what we get out of the box. However, I can actually do this. Try again. Sorry, my Power BI desktop is a little bit slow because every time I do that with Teams and PowerPoint, I always get slow performance. Okay, so bear with me, please. However, you can also ask your own questions. Let us say sales. So it will start actually to give you suggestion here based on the column names that you have in your data set. So sales amount, that's the total sales. By, it's giving me suggestion, order date, style name, etc., etc. So we can say by category. Do we have category? Yes. So that's actually my sales amount by category. Okay, but if I don't like the bar chart here, so I can write down as column chart. Yeah, so I switched now the view, as you see here, from a bar chart to a column chart. Or I can change it to any other bar chart, for example. So as you see, it's so easy, so intuitive. It can empower the business people to actually, or even a beginner of Power BI, they can start with that very quickly. However, it doesn't stop here. I'll give you a more sophisticated example here, which is what if the keyword that I use doesn't exist in my data set? You can use this right away. Okay. Sales again. Sales amount. Okay, by Country by, let us say, by location. I used actually the word location. Let us use region. Yeah, it's defining actually a region and location. Even though my data set doesn't have the region and the location, but let me clear that because I could have tried that already. Yeah, so let us get rid of that. I'll show you exactly. So let us try now region. Okay, so now is not able to identify what do you mean by region here, right? Because the data set doesn't have the keyword region, okay? And this is actually why it's highlighting it in red. So the Q&A doesn't know exactly what do I mean by region. So if I click now on that, I will get the option here. That's not available in the data set. Please define the region for us. So if I click that here, and I will actually, it's asking me, what do you want the region to refer to? So I can say that I want the region from now on to refer to country. So I'm building actually the glossary now inside Power BI. Even in the future, when I use the word region, I want Power BI to automatically understand that I'm referring to the word country. I'll save that. And close this. So it's automatically now understood that when I say region, I am referring actually to a country, even though the column name doesn't have the word region. So where is the country? Yeah, see, this is the country here. So I'm building actually like a glossary inside the model itself to actually have a map between the word region and the word country. So anytime in the future when I use the word region, I will actually get the same. Let us try again. Sales amount by region. Yeah, it understood that, and you can. Okay, so this is actually the Q&A, and as you see here, it's so fast, so rapid, empowering business people to avoid any bottlenecks when it comes to asking those key questions and get a very quick answer from the Power BI. Okay, now we move forward to the second layer, which is diagnostic analytics. Why did it happen? So the typical challenges with diagnostic analytics here, end user have many different types of why question. We don't know exactly what kind of why question they are asking, and getting answers requires time and investigation. So how Power BI can help respond to this challenge and address this challenge for the organization. So two interesting features. I want to make sure that everyone is aware of those two interesting features. First one is explain increase and decrease. Okay, let us start with the basic scenario here where we have the sales amount, and I will put the order date to show you the sales over time. So the question I have here is what really drove the sales significantly between 2013 and 2014. As you see here, like 2015 and 2013, more or less the same. 2012 was much lower. Maybe 2011 was incomplete data set. But let us say that I am interested actually to understand what drove the increase between 2013 and 2014. So what I really need to do, because could be many reasons actually. Is it a specific country? Is it a specific product? Is it a specific category in my data? So I have to go across all different variables that I have in my data to be able to get the answer for this question. What was the main contributing factor to drive the sales between 2013 and 2014. So instead of doing that one by one, and it will be very time consuming for me as an analyst, or what I really need to do is click on the higher column, which is 2014 in my case, right click, and as you see here, and analyze option, if you click on that, you will have two options: explain the increase. We will click on that, and as you see here, the algorithm is running behind the scene across all the variables that I have in my entire data set, and it will actually help me answer this question. So as you see here, this is the bar that is representing 2013, and this is the bar that is representing 2014. And it goes across all the entire variables to actually see which one is the most contributing factor of the increase between 2013 and 2014. So for example, we started actually here by product category. So home appliances actually was the most contributing factors compared to all the other categories. That can be interesting, actually, insights to share with my organization. So what I really need to do, if I like that, I will click add, and it will be added to my dashboard. If I keep scrolling down, also the manufacturer, as you see here, manufacturer. So Contoso is actually the biggest contributing factors when it comes to the manufacturer. So I like that as well. So I will add it to my chart, and so on. So as you see here, yeah, for example, this one is very, very interesting because the stock type high is the most contributing factors among all the other two types as well. So that could be another interesting finding as well. Some of them are not very interesting. Some of them are not very intuitive. Like for example, I have two categories only. More or less, they are the same. So I cannot claim one of them is actually the main driver here because we have two different values only. Blank here, for example, is the most contributing factor when it comes to size sort. So that's not interesting. And all the others are the second contributing factors. All the others mean all the other stock key are insignificant, but combined they just contribute to the other. So then the first one that is somehow significant is 190, but as you see here, it's not like very significant as a fact for my organization, and so on. So the idea here is you can quickly spot what is causing the increase in my data set without the need of going through all those factors one by one. The other also, if I just delete that, and it works both ways as well. So if I am interested actually in analyzing what contributed to the decrease between 2014 and 2015, again, right click, analyze, and now it's actually switching now to explain decrease because now I'm moving from a higher data point to a lower data point. Same concept, 2014 higher than 2015. What is causing the most decline or decrease in the data is change sales channel code minus 4.k, which is the S. So that can be a good driver for the decrease. This is not very significant. Computers, when it comes to the sales category, computer is very significant. United States as a country is the most significant driver for the decrease as well when it comes to the country, and so on. So you got the idea here. So you can easily use those self-service embedded capabilities inside the Power BI to be able to answer the question, what is actually causing the increase or decrease in my data set based on the year. Okay. The other also built-in feature is different distribution. So let us talk about that. I'll just to save my time here. I take copy. Just go here, paste that. So if this is the behavior of my data over year over year, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, it was constant increase. Then all of a sudden it started to drop in 2015. So if my data is 100% harmonized across all the categories that I have, across all the factors, across all the parameters that I have, in theory, I should expect that to be harmonized across all those variables. So I should expect, if I analyze the sales per each single country, it should follow the same pattern. It could be much lower for sure, because we divide now the columns by different countries. But does it follow the same pattern or not? Or we have difference between the standard overall pattern versus every single country as an individual behavior when it comes to the country? How about the product category? How about the product color? How about the stock type? How about all those factors? Because that can be very time-consuming exercise to analyze each one of those and see whether they follow the same pattern, which is again like following this shape, or we have outliers where they didn't really follow this pattern. So do we have any contributing factor that is actually didn't drop in 2015? It could be increased actually in 2015, or it could be decreased in 2014, but because of all the other factors that actually were much higher and more significant, the overall sales was 2014 higher, but one of the elements that we have in our data is actually declined in 2014. This is actually the interesting exercise that can be very, very time consuming, guys. Like, trust me, that can be very time consuming. It will take your time, but how to do that very quickly here? What I really need to do here is, again, right click, analyze. The second option I have here is find where the distribution is different. So let us see that. Again, the magic is running behind the scene, and it goes across all the variables in my data and see how it looks like now. So the shaded area here, the grayed area here, is the overall pattern that we came up from the overall sales here, okay? And here, for every single variable, whether this pattern is following the individual contributing factors are following the same standard pattern, or we have outliers. So that's one very interesting. So as you see here, the shaded is again what we came from as a standard pattern across the board. And this is when it comes to product category. So in the product category, home appliances in particular, the drop is not that significant between 2014 and 2015. However, overall data, that was a significant drop between 2014 and 2015. So this is actually not following the standard pattern from that side. Also here, the increase that happened between 2013 and 2014 was much more significant than the standard pattern that we have across the board when it comes to overall data. That can be interesting, actually, observation to share with my organization. 2014 was much lower. Sorry, 2013 was much lower, and the drop between 2014 and 2015 was not that significant. It can be interesting. So maybe this is something that I would like to share with my organization. And as you see here, I also have the options here to switch from a category to another. How about computer? Yeah, computer, I would say more or less. However, I consider 2013 as an outlier, because the reality is when it comes to computers, 2013 was higher than 2014. See, this is exactly what I told you, because some of the individual items or element in my dataset can behave in a different way from the standard pattern across the board. So in this case, 2013, when it comes to the computers, was technically or actually higher than 2014. So in reality is there was no increase between 2013 and 2014 when it comes to the computer. As a matter of fact, actually the sales for computers dropped between 2013 and 2014. That's very interesting observation. So that's actually can be something else to actually take it to the manager or the line manager or category manager of the computer and discuss it with them. Why your sales actually, if everyone else in the organization, their sales increased between 2013 and 2014, you guys as a team actually did a poor job because you dropped actually between 2013 and 2014. Okay, you got it. I hope this is clear for you guys. Same here, same concept. Those are outliers. Cell phones actually increased between 2014 and 2015. Even though the overall performance of the entire data set that we came up with, there was a drop happening between 2014 and 2015. Here, cell phones actually increased between 2014 and 2015. So if everyone across the organization didn't get bonus for 2015 performance, the cell phone guys should get bonus because they actually increased the sales against all the odds between 2014 and 2015. That can be also something interesting to share. So I'll keep adding that as well, and so on. So you can actually, like, same concept you can apply. it goes across the board to examine all the other the dimension in my data. So subcategory, I'll just walk you through quickly through that. So yeah, see here, download games actually increased between 2014 and 2015. Everyone else was decreasing and those guys increased, and so on. So sales channel, that's more or less following the same standard pattern, I would say. This guy actually, no, they were doing good actually in 2015, DI as a sub sales channel, and so on. So you got the idea here. So you can keep exploring and you examine all those key ones. And if you like something or you see something it's worth sharing with my organization, you can add to that to your visual. Okay, so that's actually is the analyze feature. Okay, how about some advanced analytics capabilities like for diagnostic analytics? Because some of the question cannot be easily answered by what I shared with you guys, because sometimes we really need to do some semi-machine learning or pseudo machine learning work. But the problem is machine learning actually is not for everyone, because for example, if you do some machine learning work and you go to the executive of the organization and tell them my coefficient correlation is blah blah blah, or my p-value is blah blah blah, or my intercept in my curve is blah blah blah, no one will listen to you and no one will be able to actually make any decisions based on that. So that was history now. So how Power BI is helping the organization to leverage those complex, sophisticated concepts in a more of a business intuitive and self-service way. So there are actually three key visuals. They infused already those machine learning capabilities to work behind the scene and present the result in a very business relevant and very intuitive way. First one is the decomposition tree. Decomposition tree, how it works is the decomposition tree. First of all, it's one of the visuals that is available here. And also you can access it from here as well. So you can just click here and put decomposition tree. What I'm trying to analyze here, I'm trying again, my sales is my core measure that I'm trying to analyze here. So analyze what? I want to analyze my sales. Okay, cool. Overall sales of your organization, this amount. But I still need to break it down further to understand more and put them in the right order. Which one followed by it, which one are the most significant drivers of my sales across my organization. So quickly here, because we are running out of time and I still have so many things to share with you guys. So let us say that I am interested to see whether the category is the driving factor, the brand name, the class, the color, or I can just click here. I just created this by mistake. So as you see here, I'm randomly selecting. I'm not putting them in any particular order because order doesn't really matter. I'm just like adding what I can anticipate or assume the drivers for my sales. Okay, let us have those as enough. Okay, so among all those attributes or the drivers in my site data set, which one is the most contributing segment actually that is actually constructing this amount of sales? So if I know, I can put them in the right order, but I can allow actually Power BI to do the magic again. So if I have this option here, first of all, I can manually select which one to start with, but I can leave the whole thing and the whole selection completely to Power BI to decide which one was the highest contributing factor to the overall sales amount. So if I click on that, okay, here you go. So regular as a class was the most contributing factor to the total sales out of $40 million. Regular as a class contributed almost more than 50% of the overall chunk here, followed by I click here, and again, let Power BI decide what is the second largest contributing factor for me. United States, as a country, is the second largest contributing factor after the class. Particularly, we are talking about regular, because that's the biggest chunk of my sales comes from my regular. And when it comes to the country layer, the United States is the most contributing factor to this regular category, and as a result is the most contributing factor to the overall sales. So we have 3 layers now. Okay, what else? Computer. So computer, when it comes to the category, is this the third layer of the contributing factors that led actually to the entire overall sales year. So this is actually technically a decision tree, and it can be like a data scientist task in the organization actually to build a decision tree for the organization. And it can be a complex, sophisticated algorithm needed to be used here to drive that. But as you see here, I didn't do anything complex or sophisticated. It's drag and drop. It's allowing Power BI to do the magic, and I can communicate the result very intuitively and very easily without going into all those complex concept about data science or machine learning. The second one is the key influencer. Okay, key influencer again is running the machine learning behind the scene, and it's getting those insights quickly without getting into the details of the complex concept of machine learning. So let us say that my task now is to analyze the customer satisfaction score. So what I have here in the customer satisfaction score, I have either low or high. So I have certain business transaction, sales transaction, each transaction associated with a score, like feedback from the customer, whether my satisfaction about this transaction is high or low. So 2 values only. But I need to understand exactly how those 2 high or low is impacting my overall sales, and what is driving my score to be either low or high. So imagine if this is with the classical way of doing charts and analytics, how this task can be easily done without going into the details of machine learning and AI. This can be complex topic actually to tackle as a data analyst. But with AI-powered capabilities inside Power BI, you can easily find the answer for this question. Because what you really need to do is you switch that to the key influencer. What is influencing actually my score to be either low or high? So how to get that? I can just quickly here go to this visual, and now just feed it with the information. What I'm analyzing is the customer satisfaction score. Boom, that's the output that I'm analyzing. That is the independent variable. So what are the dependent variables? Sorry, this is the dependent variable. What are the independent variable that is driving actually the customer satisfaction score to be high or low? Is it a certain brand? Is it a certain category? See, once I start to actually feed the visual, as the magic is running automatically. Is it certain class? Is it certain color? Is it certain country? Is it? That's enough. Let's stay here. Or we can add more, a couple of more. Manufacturer, or where is category? Did we put category? Yeah, we did that. Okay. Okay, so among all those, which one is the most contributing factors when it comes to the customer satisfaction to be either low or high? First of all, you have to understand or tell the model actually what you are trying to analyze here. Are you trying to analyze where the customer satisfaction was high, or what you are really interested in when the customer satisfaction was low? In this case, in particular, and in this case, I need to understand what drove my customer satisfaction to be low. Okay, and let us see how we can interpret the result here. So as you see here, among all those factors that could be driver for the customer satisfaction to be low, the product category is computer was selected as the most contributing factor to the customer satisfaction score to be low. So how to interpret that? There is a number here associated with the computer, the category as a computer. It says that the likelihood of satisfaction score being low increased by, and if you hover over it, when category is computer, customer satisfaction score, which is AT, is 1.05 times more likely to be low compared to all the other values in the category. This influencers contain approximately 40% of your data. So, as you see here, 40% of my data set, likelihood of those guys who actually bought my computer, they are more 1.05 times more than the average to provide customer satisfaction score as low. So obviously this is something that needs our attention here. How about this one? Same concept as well. The brand name in particular is Northwind. So Northwind has the same likelihood as well to provide customer satisfaction score to be low. Followed by the manufacturer as well. Obviously, there is a direct correlation between the brand name and the manufacturer, even though they are two different columns, but it seems that they are associated with each other. Color of the product is blue, like fourth category. Okay, so now we can rank all those factors that can be contributing factors to drive my customer satisfaction score to be low. So each one of those is ranked already, and you can get more details about this, and you can drive actually the organization to take certain action to respond to those drivers. However, in the reality is things doesn't work in isolation from each other. So there are not disconnected contributing factors. The reality is every single transaction is a combination of all those factors combined together. So how to switch the view now from individual contributing factors to a combination of contributing factors? What you really need to do is to switch that to segments. So segments here, as you see here, it's a clustering technique now. So we clustered actually all the people or all the data sets or all the transaction that is actually driving my customer satisfaction to be low into certain categories. Segment number one, as you see here, 86% of the people in this segment actually provided defined customer satisfaction to be low, and this is represent 7,450 data point. This is actually my population, so this is very significant population, and 86 of this segment actually identified the customer satisfaction to be low. So who are those guys here? What is the biggest chunk here that is driving my customer satisfaction score to be low? All I need to do is just click here, and I will actually get the breakdown. So this segment, actually the constructing factors of this segment is the brand name is not Contoso. So exclude Contoso because Contoso is not the issue. It seems that something else. And also the brand name is not Browseware. So forget about Browseware, is not. Category is not TV and audio. So exclude that from the blame. Product is not home appliances, exclude that because all the other one are subject to the blame now. Category is not cameras and camcorders as well. Color is not white and country is not Australia. That means all the other factors are actually the constructing factor of this segment. And as you see here, we have more breakdown about this, and you can actually get more details about the behavior of each one based on where the distribution is different. So you can actually examine that more. Let us move to another segment here. Brand name is not Contoso. Category is not TV and video. Color is not white, but here we started to be specific here. Country is Australia. So in the second segment, country is Australia is obviously defined as one of the biggest driving factors for customer satisfaction score to be low. So maybe it's something that we need to talk about that with the country manager, which is Australia. Color is white in this segment, so maybe the color, we need to talk about it with whoever is making the decision here. And as you see here, for example, in this fourth segment or fifth segment, category is computer and the brand name is Contoso. This is actually 85% of the entire population here, where the combination of the product name Contoso and the category is computer. 85% of them, they give us low score when it comes to customer satisfaction. So as you see here, those are very complex concept, and to tackle them in a regular or traditional classical visualization or analytics can be very, very time consuming, and it very be hard to do and also hard to communicate to the organization. With those AI powered capabilities, it's so easy and so intuitive and so straightforward exercise, as you see. The third one here, which is anomaly detection. Again, that's one of the very complex exercises in the machine learning world. How to spot the anomaly in my data. So how much time do we have? Oh, 10 minutes. I have to be quick then. So anomaly is, okay, this is where is my sales. This is my sales amount. This is actually what the order, sales order. And I would break down this. And let us switch that to line chart. Okay, see, this is the line chart of my sales at the lowest granular level, which is at the day level. I need to analyze that, and I understand exactly, do we have any anomalies in this pattern or not? Don't be misled by all those peaks here, because this is actually could be based on the understanding of the pattern that could be normal behavior. It doesn't have to be anomaly actually. But let us Power BI algorithm actually do this exercise for me. What I really need to do is in the third tab here to go to the analytics tab and find anomalies and just add that. Okay, boom. So the algorithm actually behind the scene analyzed the historical pattern of the data and identified certain spots to be outlier actually in my data. This one was not identified as outlier because obviously the data before and after could actually be a good explanation of the peak that happened here. However, those guys here, based on the deep understanding of the behavior of the data, is not considered as were considered to be outliers. So, and it doesn't stop here because you can increase the sensitivity or decrease the sensitivity here. So the more, if you decrease the sensitivity and just apply, we are widening now the range of acceptance of or tolerance. So every single data point here has maximum point and maximum value. And as you see here, I'm just like stopping here. And as you see in the tooltip, I have the actual value, the expected value based on the algorithm, and the min and the max. So if the data is within the min and max, will not be flagged as anomaly. So if I want to be solution about this range, none of the items were treated as anomaly. However, if I actually increase the sensitivity and tighten the range a little bit more, I will get more and more data points to be flagged as anomaly. So it's really up to the analyst and the organizational decision here to understand how sensitivity works and how far do we need the data to be sensitive to the changes. As a result, how many data points to be flagged either as anomaly or not. Okay, it doesn't stop here because we can format, like for example, anomaly color that can be red, for example. So we can do some formatting work here to spot that in a colorful way. However, for example, I need to understand exactly what drove this particular anomaly here. So if I click on that, it's actually again running the algorithm behind the scene, and it's identifying the color is green is the most contributing factors for this outlier behavior of my data, followed by the size large, followed by home appliances, so and so on. So this is actually, let's move to another one. If I move to the second, another one, again, green is obviously the driver for those ones. Let us take this one as another interesting example. Category is camera and camcorders. So the contributing factor for this spike in this particular day, something happened as an outlier when it comes to the normal behavior and more normal pattern of the sales of camera and camcorders. It could be a sales event, it could be a promotion event, I don't know, but this is obviously, this is what the data is telling me. So how to get more insights about that? If I click here, I see now the comparison between sales overall and sales amount for cameras and camcorders in particular. Okay, I need to take that into more focused. So I add that to the report. So if I now take this smaller, a little bit smaller, and take this, expand this here. See, this is the comparison now between the overall performance of my data, which is green, sales amount, and the sales amount for camcorders and cameras. And as you see here, see, even for in certain spots, even the overall sales was not that high, but I have to be careful about choosing exactly this day. Let's put in a focus mode. Yeah. See the difference, for example, between those two. So it will tell you exactly the behavior of each one of those, and you can tell exactly whether this one is out of sync of the overall sales or not. Like, for example, we have so much gaps here, for example, in this area. And some of the spikes here, you can see that they are just like orange or yellow, not green. So you can easily spot actually what is the contributing factor of the spike in certain particular day, in the sales in certain particular day. Okay, last 4 minutes. I don't know what else do I have. Okay, yeah. Okay, when it comes to the communication, smart narrative, guys. So let us take this as an important, for example, chart. Let us go here, put it here. If I need to actually, I need to communicate that to my executive, for example. I don't know exactly what to tell my executive about this chart. So all what I really need to go is right click, summarize, and as you see, oh, no summarization found. This is not something interesting here to find in this chart. So let us take another one. Let us take this one. And just trying to go quick now.
We have 3 minutes, and other session ended 10 minutes back, so everybody's waiting.
Okay. So as you see here, yeah, sorry, last thing to share with you guys here, the smart narrative here. So the smart narrative, it goes to your chart, give you a summary, and it highlight exactly what needs to be communicated actually to your executive or the audience here. Sales, summarize the value average, sales experience, the longest period of growth, blah, blah, blah. And this is very dynamic, by the way. So if you really, if you just focus on any of the charts, so you started actually to see the pattern actually change as a result of that. Let us do that here. There is no summarize here. Okay. Anyway, so this is actually like a good way to summarize your chart. If you have a very complex visualization and dashboard and has so many charts, so this can spot and highlight what are the key messages to actually communicate to the organization. And it's a very dynamic and very intuitive, and it can be customized as well to can add more chart contents and more color coding of fonts, etc., etc. So that's exactly like what I have in this demo and in this session. And I would like to leave you with this statement here. Exactly, this is the Andrew Neg is actually like the godfather of machine learning and AI. So he's anticipated actually AI will transform the world the same